We're live.
Excellent. Hello, world. This is the Naiji Temple back for investigations for cases of the human condition and the meaning of existence. As usual, a short session tonight because we did most of our talking off camera. We were just kind of jamming on some personal stuff for fun. But there is one item I did want to talk about, and that is that last Sunday there was a sample that I had to make pending, which was the case of Axwell, music artist from the band Axwell and Ingrosso. All right, so I'll do introductions, then I'll talk about it a little bit, and then the gang kind of have their thoughts on it. The subject, though, of this is actually Naiji ego, so I thought it would be appropriate to do it here. All right, I am Naiji Coach.
I'm Naiji Mitchell.
I am Naiji Ben.
And this is Naiji Glenn.
Excellent. Okay, so what happened was that the sample of Axwell I read as a Nijai earlier in the week, and then through the course of the week I was getting ready for going out into the field, and then that weekend I went out to the field, and when I did, I went to malls because it was so hot, which is not good. If you guys have been following my track for progress, street approaches have been working much better. I've been going out 30 minutes each day. Every day I've actually gotten an approach. I found Nijais out there, so that was better, but it's got a little cooler. It's still warm, but a little cooler, but it was so hot that I did that, so it really kind of demoralized me because it wasn't getting, the kind of like scene. It wasn't reminding me of what my spirits said it would be like when I would go out. So those things were weighing on me. But those are just things I have to deal with. I was mentioning them because when the quiz came up, I had read Axwell as Nijai, and everyone else had read him as Naiji. And as a testament to the team's abilities and the fact that they actually are tracking the phenomenon at a much higher rate than others are, that hit me hard. When most people say things from like typologists, whatever, they all say so and so is Bill Clinton's a Nijai or one of you, whatever. Like, okay, I shrug it off. It means nothing to me. And just being honest, earlier when I was training my team here, if they would all pick something different than me, I would not as given as much weight because their skills were not as tested. But your guys' skills are tested, and you've shown that generally when you all are dialing in the same answer, usually you're right. So that, combined with I was in that weakened state, I was unable to read Axwell on that session. I did read him as Nijai, and I have now since read him as Nijai. I believe him to be Nijai. However, that evening, I couldn't do it. And this is where it gets into my ego. I did not want to admit that I couldn't do it because I'd never done that before. But actually now it's happened, I'm glad it's happened, I'm glad I'm over it, and now in the future if it comes up I'll know better what to do, which is I should just said, I believe he was Nijai when I read him earlier in the week, but this weekend has depleted me. My lens is temporarily down. Apologies for having a down lens while on the session, but that was in fact the case. But I didn't want to say that, but I should have. And I should have just said, I want to be able to give the answer tonight, but I think I'm actually going to have to wait till tomorrow or Tuesday or something to actually give the answer. I can't give the answer right now, but I wanted to. And so then I actually started thinking about seeing Naiji. And then if anyone wants to watch it, you're seeing the world's greatest Mojo Reader getting thrown. That was me being thrown. I knew the answer was Nijai. But then my lens got fuzzy. I knew it was fuzzy, but I wanted the answer. But I didn't at that time have the power. The lens power wasn't there. I pulled, and I couldn't get it. I didn't want to admit I couldn't get it, so I kept pulling. And then I started thinking I was seeing something. And you guys know from Mojo reading, when you actually pull on something or push it when you shouldn't in that way, eventually your psyche's like, sure, man. There's, if you want to believe he's an IG, then there you go. He's an IG, and you start seeing shit. So I thought I was seeing things at that time in the mouth and the eyes, but when I was able to be alone again, have the pressure off me and look, I was like, he's an Nijai. And so I didn't want to admit that I got that wrong, but it's better that this is done because it's kind of like an antidote. Because in the future when that comes up, I won't be so caught off guard what to do. I will know what one is supposed to do when that happens. You're supposed to actually say, oh, my lens is currently in a refractory period. Usually I like to have my lens up to be able to do some reading when I come on, but that didn't happen. That was the responsible thing to do. Now the responsible thing to do is just say that is in fact what happened. So people can kind of learn from that. So it's kind of a nice counterpoint in a way from last session where I was talking about my proper ego and the titles I have as far as being a mega genius, and that was appropriate. And in fact, a lot of times I have a hard time rising up to that level of ego, but my spirit says I have to go up to that because it's actually truth. But on the other hand, on that Sunday, that was inappropriate ego. That was me just, my team has never seen me not be able to pull a read in real time. I've told them that might come up, but it's never actually happened before. And so that was the first time. I wish I actually could have actually noted it was happening and said that, but I didn't. But I was able to note it afterwards, and now I'm doing the next best thing I can, which is say what the correct read is and mention how I got thrown. That helps me do full disclosure, helps me grow, and other people out there, particularly Naiji, for example, maybe in the same situation, knowing that comes up, you can be more alert. And so hopefully you can be better than I was the first time it comes to you, or if not, how I got back to a position of being responsible about it. You can follow that route as well if you happen to get thrown, as I did. So any thoughts on that, guys, Naiji, about having to kind of raise up? A lot of times you have good thoughts in your mind, but you feel like I don't have enough ego to be the person to go out and say them. And at other times, like you really want to be seen as a teacher so bad that you may, like, you know what I mean, overreach, trying to be seen.
I relate to that.
Yeah, actually, I experienced this recently. It was in our unofficial Naiji Hangouts when it had to do with me and Ben. We had a little bit of a disagreement on something. I forget what it was. It had to do with something related to, scheduling. Yeah. And you know, it has to do with like Mojo reading. I like to do my Mojo reading on a specific day. I like to do it on Saturdays, which is, for me, I like the idea of like just doing that on that day. But sometimes we like to do hangouts on certain different days depending on other people's schedules. And I'm a little bit, I was being a little bit inflexible. I was like, no, I don't want to do Thursday or Friday or these other days. I'd rather, or I mean, I don't want to do Saturday because Saturday is the day that I do my Mojo reading on. So that would mean 2 hours would be wasted, or not wasted, because technically, whenever we do our hangouts, it's always time well spent. But it would be,
it would cut in.
Exactly, it would cut into that time, and I didn't want to do that. I felt like that's kind of like my sacred time to do my Mojo reading. But Ben brought up a very good point, which was, you know, you can do 2 hours extra on another day, or the day that we would normally do our hangouts on, which is like Friday or Wednesday. You know, we can do it on, or Wednesday. I mean, the day that we would not be doing it on Wednesday, so that 2 hours would be opened up for you to do Mojo reading then. And I was like, I don't want to, but I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say that I didn't want to because it felt like I don't know. I just didn't like the idea of having to acknowledge that, you know, Ben got the better of me at that one moment, but he technically didn't get the better of me. He was
yeah. I mean, it's not like we're
better.
a duel. I mean, yeah, we're not really like, you know.
Right. It's made that and also, you know, kind of like saying you don't want to say that I like that day. It makes it feel like you need. And sometimes another thing, as being a teacher, another thing is Naiji, we don't like to admit we need things. Do you mean if we have like a way that I really like it that way, like it bothers me if it doesn't go that way? A lot of times we don't want to say that. It makes us feel like it's something that we're beholden to. We don't like admitting that we're actually beholden to any schedule or lucky token object, or we like to believe we're above that. You know what I mean? And we like other people to believe we're above that.
Yeah, and I felt like I didn't really have a good reason not to want to do what Ben said, so but I didn't want to say it. I was just like, yeah, I kind of feel like on Saturdays, the thing when it has to do with it, I don't get that same kind of deep level of Mojo reading ability, and then I kind of felt like I was bullshitting myself and I was bullshitting everybody else too.
Well,
it's a little bit true.
There's definitely that element to it. You should be able to Mojo read at any time if you have the opportunity. So when my week is like that, I often will move things around. You need to be able to do that. However, there is something what you're saying, Glenn, is that most people who do like art, for example, they do have a ritual they do. They have a special place they go. And so it's not wrong to actually have like a time of day or time of week or the look and sound of the environment. That's quite common to need that for you to really kind of get in your zone. So but I think so I don't think you should feel overly anything bad about that, really.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do think it had some good truth to it, with what Coach was saying.
But I think what Glenn may have been noting on that is you are admitting that I don't know if I can perform as well if I don't do art in my studio in the normal hours I do it. And Naiji just may not want to, like, artistically, as just a person, like, admit that they, you know, don't perform equally well necessarily on all schedules. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's also another thing that you said, Coach, too, which made me think like maybe it would be a really good idea for me to do that, do different days. Which is, you made a point some time ago when we were starting to begin doing Mojo reading as a team like this, that it's good to do a little bit every day, and that allows you to get used to a person's energy, and then that allows you to get the read more correctly, as compared to just, you know, how would you say, like when you do studying like in school and you just cram? Yeah, it's the difference between cramming versus like actually doing a little bit every day. When you do a little bit every day, you warm yourself up to it and you kind of develop more of a stronger ability to do it overall. So I was a little bit balking at the fact that I would have to do that, because that would mean that I would have to completely shift around my entire schedule for the entire week. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that.
And that is something that Naiji don't tend to really like to do.
No.
We tend to, you know, we don't really want to have to go through the effort working out exactly when we do things differently where we do it. But the thing is, I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, I should be able to do that, because I feel like it would be really good for me to try and doing that, because I feel like, if you guys have been reading my posts on the track 1, when it comes to Mojo reading, I've been feeling as though I've been kind of lagging behind a little bit, and I feel like I want to catch up to some of the scores of other great Mojo readers that we have, and I want my scores to be higher. So I think
score should not drive you. Trust me that.
The score should not drive me, but I feel like also like I want to try something different to see how it affects me.
That's fine. Going for score, actually wanting to break a rut to get better, that's always great.
Yeah, I you know, the way I think about like my personal best, like, because like the more I think about like how much better, you know, how much smaller I am to someone else, it doesn't really feel like, you know, as productive energy. It's just like, you know, I want to bring my personal best up. I want to keep getting to the next level. I want to keep bringing mine to the next tier and just keep moving from there.
That's true. Competition is kind of like said.
Yeah.
I mean, we are competitive in that way. But I can help you out. This is why we're very we're the yinnest of the yang. Is the way that we compete. For example, classically, we like a Naiji, we compete artistically. If you go in to compete, you generally don't make as good of art as if you go in to make great art. Now, the desire to go into that studio many times and to go in hard and to not leave until you get something great, that is part of that directive competitive juice. But when you're actually like, I'm going to pull the trigger, this is what's weird. The trigger is artistic joy. That's what's weird. You actually have to be getting artistic joy to be the most badass. And which is weird, because you'll notice Naiji who are able to do that, they have this kind of like preternatural swagger to them. But it's because they figured out the secret. To be a dragon, you kind of have to get like liquidy, magical, I want to discover mysteries and like blow my own mind. And if you do that, you level up, and then you're like, I want to level up more than anyone else. That's great, but you have to understand how leveling up works for a Naiji. You have to blow your own mind. Blowing your own mind is actually how you level up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, learning, right? Learning
is how you level up. But yes,
yeah.
That's be competitive about that. But you can't let that warp the process, which is a very learning-centric process.
Yeah, that's something that, you know, sometimes it gets on me a little bit every now and then. It's the competitiveness will kind of set in a little bit too much, and then I need to back off of that and understand that this is my process, and the way that I do Mojo reading is completely it's similar to a lot of people in a lot of ways. So there's, I'm not like some kind of an alien trying to do mode reading. I'm still a human being. I'm still Naiji, like all the other Naiji. But I do have my own process. I do have like a way in which I do it that's kind of my own, and I kind of lose sight of that which makes me who I am in that way, and then I try to just become obsessed with, like, I want to become the best and better than everyone else kind of mentality, which is kind of, it's good, but it's not really.
It's interesting because, like, when I think of, like, I think of the highest purpose of competition as, like, heroism. Like I'm doing, like, a service to the world to be, like, get the highest score and to, like, set the next precedent and to motivate others to get to that level as well. To, like, be at the, like, the front end of the weed whacking, So it's
also defining the competition correctly is critical. Naiji, which is doing Mojo reading. The key is, are you learning more about natural law?
That's the thing, right? That's the thing.
That's what it's all about. And so you really should be greedy in a way. Am I getting more insights? There should be like a voracious to that. Competition is good only in that maybe it teaches you there's more out there I could get. But if it crimps you taking in insights that are quasi-depthing you, then actually competition, as it is defined, is in the way of the real competition. The real competition is enlightenment. And there is a competitiveness to all of life, to Phenomena, but if you're thinking that way, you actually won't get into the higher state that technically would be winning, if that makes any sense.
I think that's like I relate to myself. That's something that can kind of I've struggled with in the past, like just letting the competition, like, get to me, like make it feel like everything about it is competitive, like everything about Mojang is competitive. It's all competitive, like it's like, it's just like motivation, it's like drive. It's like
it leans on you too much.
That started to get up in the morning,
The scores are actually not meant really to put a competitiveness in. The purpose of Mojang basically is twofold. For ourselves initially, it should be discovery. That should be the primary juicer, like, what are these things going to be? And then for myself, will I get the right answers? And if I don't get the right answers, I've mentioned before, why? Although I don't like when I get wrong answers, I have to say this. A lot of my best, biggest breakthroughs have been when I realized how and why I got something wrong. Like, I needed to get that wrong and then trip on it and then go, why did I trip there? And when I can unravel that knot, I really unravel something in me deeply and permanently. So that to me is the primary focus of it. The score is really, and I want us to kind of look as teammates. And so we can egg each other on to have good scores, but what we need is a demo team. And 75% is a score that I believe will have to be recognized by the world to some degree. And critically, for you all going out to be representatives for Podlair, that level of accuracy gives a tremendous amount of confidence. And I want you guys to be able to make this a Podlair world, and to do that, you're going to have to talk to people with this feeling of, I'm Podlair. What's that mean? I see things different. 75% plus, you are seeing things at a vastly higher level. You guys are already seeing things much higher now. But to be able to, like, I can count on that. If you can do anything 3 out of 4 times, you basically can do that. Do you know what I mean? That's a very viable life skill.
And even if you didn't get it on, like, on the 1 or the 4, you were probably close.
You're probably close, exactly. You can probably circle back and get it next time. So that's why I picked that number. It's not like we're like racing who can do it. We are racing as a team. We need a collective score. So obviously, I think a good analogy for this is like on a wrestling team. I'm sure the sports work this way as well. But in a wrestling team, I'm sure probably tennis team works the same way, a degree, is that on the team, each individual is judged on their own match. And obviously, you want to crush the opponent. In this case, it would be the Mojari. You want to get a great score just because you want to do well. But the other people on the team, you want them to do well too, because they're each.
We're all on the same team. Like we're actually competing more with the world than we are with each other. Way more.
That determines which team is best. So on the teams, you'll frequently have, like in really top teams, you'll have like a good portion of the team are all ranked. And they joke with each other. Ha ha, I'm ranked 12th and you're ranked 14th. And it's like a good-natured rivalry. But why they're there is we're about Penn State. Penn State has the most ranked wrestlers of any team. We're the best team. And so that's the overall camaraderie, and they bring that to every camp. When you're on the mat, everyone's cheering you on. They want you to win. They're on your, and so that is the energy. And they'll say this too. If another person breaks the rank I have, I like it, because it means I have to try harder. And we're in class together. It's not we're against each other. We're actually trying to see who can break the records more, because the more people on the team that are pushing each other, that's good. Pushing each other is great. You know what I mean? I would always be like, we really want to get a 75%.
Like productive juice, you know?
And so this is key. Being like, man, they're getting ahead of me. That's not good. What is good is this. Look how fast you can do it. Look how high that score. That's good, because that's why you do have other bad.
Like on a wrestling team, like you kind of like duel each other, but right? I mean, I know that's obviously a one-on-one competitive activity, but it's like you do it. The reason why you do that though is because like you want to both be better. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and when one of us, and if one of the members they do something really, they accelerate their what do you call it, abilities fast, like really fast. That shows that it's possible for you to do it as well.
The rest of the team, you notice all the time, like an MMA, for example, is that when one of their members that they always knew was a member and was a strong member, they knew they were a strong member, but they went over and did a fight, and they did really well. It suddenly makes you realize, oh, we train with that person, and they're able to compete at this level. That means that we could do that either, if not now, then soon. It kind of teaches you, like, the school we train at produces super high-level people. You mean, so that is actually good, and this part of competition is good too if you look this way. But I like being pushed. I want to be that. I want to be one of the people that other people look up to, so they push hard too. So it's good. You look at the other people like, I want to have that score, and I want other people to want the score I have. That way everyone's pulling each other up. It's not tearing anyone down or feeling like anyone's like on you. In a good team, it won't have that dynamic. It will just feel like you're being pushed. And it should feel like this, though. You cannot be in that environment and not want to get better. That's great. It's great to be around people that are just pushing all the time. So when you're there, it just feels weird not to push yourself hard. That's good. That makes excellence among a team.
And also, like, you can't be in that environment and not become good just because that it just rubs off on you.
That's the culture. That's literally what this team does. This team gets better every day aggressively.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, yeah.
This kind of takes things back to the conversation that Glenn and I were having in the unofficial hangout. But I just want to state real quick that I actually had improper ego in that conversation as well, because when Glenn didn't, he had his own explanation for why he really wants to stick to Saturday. While I may have disagreed with him or thought that he was being he wasn't what's it called?
Being flexible.
Yeah, being as flexible as he should have. In that situation, I shouldn't have kept pushing him in that conversation the way I was. I was pushing him too hard after that. I should have steered the conversation away from that, because in that conversation, Saturday wasn't like even relevant, because we found that Thursday worked just fine already. So it wasn't productive to continue it, and it wasn't accomplishing anything. And it just caused like unnecessary disharmony, and it just not the right kind of it wasn't productive energy. It was just.
I'm glad. I think you guys both were very mature for saying these things. I think it brings everything to a higher level, and it's very important to do this. It's an ongoing thing for your whole life. But the more you think about it, the more you develop yourself, the more you have company of people that remind you the kind of spirit you like to have. that's the way to live a life. As far as like the pushing, that's one thing I try to keep in my mind as well is why am I doing this? Because we are directed, we are hunters, and once you kind of somehow feel like you're in like a hunter like striker drive, you almost feel like you're somehow being weak by pulling off. But a lot of times, what is really a strong thing to do, and it shows that you really are mature enough to do the right thing, even though it may superficially be seen by some people as like you're letting something go, weak or letting something go, is asking yourself this: why am I doing this? And I found that things I've done, and I have a lot of HSP and so forth, I've been able to stay on the mark through incredible things if I'm able to keep explaining that to my higher spirits. Why am I pushing? But if you can't, other than I don't like to stop pushing once I've started until I get a win. Yeah. Is that the answer? If that's the answer, that's not a good enough answer. There should be a higher answer of why I must keep pushing to get this win.
And it's important for me because like in those situations I get like demons like wanting to me aggressively like push harder, right? Because I have this insecurity about like about being seen as weak or being seen as someone who should have had the right answer there. So it's something that you have to be able to overcome those demons, actually do the right thing in that situation.
What you said is something that you really want to keep in mind. It's a very good point, and that is this: the true competition is enlightenment. So you can be pushing with someone and you're like, I'm winning this push or not winning this push, but actually what's happening is your demons are actually slapping you around like a little punk. You might even dominate that other person in the conversation, and all that happened was your rage demons beat you up. They beat you up into rage, submitting someone else, and it wasn't even a proper victory. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of times, like, realizing what is the real thing to have happen here. You know what I mean? For example, like in that case, you guys wouldn't have a good day to do your activity. That was the actual goal. But somewhere in that goal, there became a contestation of which way it should go, and that sort of went to a side path of like whose leadership or understanding of the situation should take precedence, which is actually a secondary consideration to, finding a day for the activity. Mm-hmm. It was good, but I think both of you were in the right kind of headspace in general. But as an IG, one thing we had to watch out for is why the Dragon metaphor makes sense. We build up a lot of energy when we start getting into certain trajectories. And when you do, it kind of like starts shuddering. And yet, sometimes as a dragon, as an IG, you have to account for it. Like a wizard applies too. When we get going, we build up these tremendous forces, and then it can feel weird to not unleash them. But know this, as an IG, you have to know when to hold them and be able to hold those energies. That's a big part of being an IG. On the other hand, the other part of the ego, sometimes you just say what the right thing is, but you don't feel up for it. Get up. Get up. When you're like, you're looking around and someone needs to do it, and the only someone that looks vaguely able to do it be you. You're like, I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I can do a good job. It needs.
Or I don't feel like doing it.
What's that?
Or it could be, I don't feel like doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
But also the feeling like is just, that's a lot of times the feeling like is actually an illusion. Fear and not wanting to do something that takes a lot of effort can make you not feel like it. So I found that you can explain it. By the way, not feeling like is a great answer. But generally, if you can ask why, I've noticed that it's like a deep, profound, like detached not one. Like I truly don't give a shit. But that's because I actually like did the math, and I'm like, this is inconsequential. Like as an IG, you do that Nye math in your head. You're like, this is irrelevant. And once Nye like thinks something's irrelevant, it's very hard to get me to pay any attention to it. But if you're feeling like energy from something, I find it's good to ask why, because then I'll reach a higher level of not caring, or I will realize I do in fact care. This would just be inconvenient, or / I don't know if I can pull it off. You know what I mean? And generally, people, if it's going to take a lot of effort, if it's going to be inconvenient, and if you doubt whether or not you could pull it off, it's easy to feel like you don't want to do it, as in I just universally, on principle, don't feel like doing it. So I like to know what is the principle that I'm walking forward or away. I do that a lot with my kind of like I use my Nai and Zai on my Ji of like why am I choosing to do what I'm choosing, and I can really look at it, and you have to be okay with that answer. Sometimes like this is annoying, and I guess someone should do it, but I don't have the energy for this today. It's not important enough. And sometimes you wish that wasn't the answer. This is why Naiji can get really, gravitas. We look at it like in a very nuanced way. This is annoying, and it's almost annoying enough for me to do something about, but I'm busy today, and I don't have a lot of energy right now, so I'm going to let it go. But if I had more energy, it's a more nuanced answer, but it's a more correct answer. If I had more energy, I would do something. You know what I mean? To actually kind of note that. Or other things are like, I don't have energy for that right now, but I don't really think I want to do that. And I look at it, I'm like, you know what? If I had a lot of energy, I would still walk away because this is stupid and a waste of my time.
Sometimes I feel like, though, that I'm being lazy. Like, I feel like I should be doing something, but, like, I don't feel like doing it. I think that has to do with fear or just, like...
Absolutely. And so I found that on that, if you do what I'm talking about right now, you'll find the answer. And it generally happens in a very particular way. I get antsy. And then I get impatient, and then I get angry, and then I just highly motivated, and you can't get me off the case. And what happens is mulling on, like I've done that, like I'm going to walk past something in life, and I'm like, why? That's bothering me. Why is it bothering me? And then I'll pause and I'll think, and then I can get hard on myself either way. One is, that's annoying, but really it's irrelevant, but it's provocative irrelevant, and you've allowed provocative irrelevancy to get your attention. You should just shrug it off. And I have to say, oh, I feel silly for letting this irrelevant thing catch my attention this long. As a Naiji, a lot of times what makes it strong is we actually can look at our personal weakness sooner than other humans can, and thus note how it operates and get over it and use it to our advantage and hide it. And see it in others. The reason is so you want to have this power is, why am I doing what I do? And even sometimes we have to like listen to a very human answer, like, why did I get Axwell wrong last night? Well, the answer is not one I'm proud of. I'm proud that I was able to give the answer, if that makes sense. But the reasoning of it's like, that's a rather human reason for making that error, but it is what it is. But I'll be better now that I've actually made that. On the other hand, if it's like, what you're talking, Ben, where I feel like I'm tired, a great gift Naiji have, it's truly amazing, is righteous rage. And you'll find if you mull on something, you'll get angry that it's taking your headspace, and you'll do one of two things. You'll boil it to the point where I just did previously, of like, it's irrelevant. Annoying, provocative, but really overall irrelevant. I should just get over it. And you can take your anger to the point where, like, I'm over it. I'm over it. On the other hand, you're walking by and you're tired, and you see something and you're like, you want to keep walking, but it feels weird to walk away. So you walk around the corner and you're like, I don't want to keep walking away. Why? And you start mulling on it, because that's stupid. Yeah, but things are dumb all the time, but you really don't let it go. And you kind of know that and it can be something like this. You know what this is? What? It's symbolic. This is reminding you of that incident that happened a while back, and that good person was hurt, and nothing could be done about it. That motif is actually happening right now back around that corner. And you could stop it. You could make that motif not happen this time. That's why. And by the way, by the time I've thought this much, you guys know this. You're going to school, you're tired of shit, and you come home, your favorite show's on, you have energy. You know what I mean? You go to work,
yeah, I know that feeling.
You're super tired, then your friend comes over, starts talking about Pokemon, tons of energy, can't go to sleep. Okay, so great power you have as a Naiji. If you mull on something and you start realizing, that does bother me. I think I do have and you start thinking that, you'll start getting energy, and you actually have the power as a Naiji to burn the midnight oil. Naiji can actually go an extra 48 hours they have to. Know that. If you have to, you can do that. So the question is always, is it worth it? And sometimes you may have to operate in Naiji or Masters of this shades of gray. It's a close call, but today, I just can't save that German Shepherd. I have other things I have to do. I have to go save these other things, and I don't know if I can do both, and so I have to keep walking. It sucks. I don't want to have to walk away, but I do. Other times, it's awkward, makes you feel bad, but it's the truth of it. And then when the situation comes up, you're like, that's difficult. I don't know if I can pull it off, but I think I can, and I really want to. When you start having those thoughts, you may suddenly realize you've walked around the corner without even thinking about it. you were around the corner going, I don't like this. I think I can do something about it. I really want to. Next thing you know, you're back over there, ankle deep in that person's shits. Because you kind of talk yourself where visualization is very important in IG. But you have to ask why you're doing it and be able to really look at the answers and not flinch. If you don't do that, the visualization will get murky and either go away or it'll just tell you shit you want to hear to make you feel better. I mean, your simulator can be a great, rationalization device if you let it be that, but it's not meant to be. It's meant for you to give it the greatest truth token you can, and you're like, give it to me, hit me, hit me. I mean, you basically ask it to hit you with truth. If you do that, it always will, up to what you can handle.
Up to yeah.
But so you basically have to always go in with the point of view give me what I can handle, and that's two things. One, if you can handle it, you handle it. If it's hard but you can handle it, you handle it. On the other hand, if you can't, you're human. You have to acknowledge you are human. You can't do everything. You can't fix everything, save everything, build everything. It's not
walking that line is kind of difficult.
It is.
Like the difference between something that you're just not really capable of yet versus what you can be doing, but maybe you're kind of too lazy or not putting in the kind of effort you should be.
Right.
So you get. Sometimes it's important to be brave, and you get points for that. And sometimes it's important to note that you have to be humble, and you get points for that as well. And it's trying to, determine which is the right way to go in any kind of circumstance, which is the right way to be at that time.
It's a classic saying that applies to everyone, but I think for Naiji, being the philosophical souls we are, it's good to have the mind all the time. There's different versions of this saying, but the gist is basically, let me be brave enough to change the things that can be changed. Let me have grace towards the things that I do not have the power to change. And grant me the wisdom to know the difference. That's Naiji life right there.
Cool.
Really, anyone who wants to go at life as kind of a philosophical seeker. All right, I have to let you all go. That was a great talk, and I think you guys really showed a lot of maturity there. I think we all did doing this. I think we set a great example, because this is real strength. This is actually how a Naiji really, really does it. And a lot of times, pop culture and even Naiji just need a secretiveness. Naiji won't really know what does it take for Naiji to actually do what they do and to level up. And this is how you do it. In fact, if you want to have a huge proper ego, you have to do this. You have to keep humbling yourself in front of truth, and that's why you can be a proud, swaggering representative of it. That's only if you can carry it. You only get to swagger if you're carrying truth. If you're currently buckling under it, you have to deal with that. Deal with truth crushing you, and then once you got past that, then your ego goes forward. But yeah, either way, you have to have a very strong ego being an IG. Alrighty. Great stuff, and I will see you all. When's the next thing up? Oh, Sunday.
Sunday.
Cool beans. Have a great night.
Have a great night, everyone.
Have a great night.